Must-watch video for meat eaters. Does meat cause inflammation? Do you want to stay young without disease? Aging is a natural phenomenon, but there are steps you can take now to minimize aging in your body. For that, it is important to understand what inflammation is, how it relates to aging, sometimes called inflammaging. Meat promotes inflammaging. What is inflammation? Inflammation is a complex process in which cells and chemicals in our bodies fight infections and other threats, and it can be activated acutely or long-term. If a threat is detected by the immune system, chemicals like histamine are released that cause blood vessels to dilate, permitting white blood cells to arrive to clean up the area. While inflammation can protect our health when it's an acute response like a bug bite or infection, but chronic inflammation is a different story. Many medical illnesses are caused by the chronic activation of inflammatory pathways. These include asthma, acne, celiac disease, rheumatoid arthritis, and even atherosclerosis of heart arteries. In fact, in 1856 Rudolf Virchow proposed that arterial disease was an inflammation of blood vessels, and recently the role of inflammation in initiating heart disease events was proved. You want to do everything you can to avoid increased levels of chronic inflammation, and the ability to measure inflammatory status in blood tests has advanced greatly. Patients in my preventive clinic get half a dozen tests like the high-sensitivity C-reactive protein, HSCRP, to assess inflammation. More than half of our immune defenses are located in our gastrointestinal tract to monitor the foods that we eat. Foods can be inflammatory and initiate a chronic response if eaten over and over, and other foods can be anti-inflammatory. 7 reasons meat causes inflammation. Meat elevates levels of C-reactive protein, an indicator of inflammation. When there is inflammation in the body, the liver makes C-reactive protein. Blood measurements of high-sensitivity C-reactive protein gives the assessment of risk for future heart disease. A science study performed in mice showed an amino acid methionine, found in high levels in meat, increased oxidative stress and inflammation and actually reduced heart strength too. High intake of meat in humans lead to higher levels of arachidonic acid, another mediator that promotes inflammation and aging. A diet low or absent in meat was recommended for optimal health. 2. Meat causes insulin resistance, which leads to diabetes. Insulin resistance is one of the reasons of cellular aging. When the body's cells don't respond properly to hormone insulin, insulin resistance develops, which further leads to type 2 diabetes, gestational diabetes and prediabetes. Scientists found that some protein-rich and fat-rich meats induced as much insulin secretion as did some carbohydrate-rich foods. Example, beef was equal to brown rice. The researchers found that large fish, beef, pork and cheese had larger insulin responses per gram than many carbohydrate foods. 3. Meat raises insulin-like growth factor 1 linked to breast and prostate cancer. Insulin-like growth factor 1 or IGF-1 is a peptide hormone stimulating cell growth. It is also linked to higher risk of breast and prostate cancers. Meat eaters consistently have higher levels of IGF-1 than vegetarians or vegans. Breast and prostate cancers are rare in traditional Asian communities, which have a very low intake of meat products. Okinawan, some of the longest living people on the planet, eat a diet with less than 10% of their daily calories from meat. A plant-based fasting mimicking diet has been shown to reduce levels of IGF-1, which has an anti-aging effect. 4. Meat produces trimethylamine N oxide, which promotes heart disease. In 2011, researchers from Cleveland Clinic demonstrated that meat eaters produced a metabolite that promotes heart disease, called trimethylamine N oxide or TMAO. But TMAO was not elevated in vegans who were asked to eat a meat meal for the purpose of the study. Regular meat consumption elevates the levels of TMAO, leading to premature aging. 5. Meat can lead to accumulations of persistent organic pollutants, which are linked to multiple diseases. Persistent organic pollutants, POPs, are toxic synthetic chemicals that accumulate in fat. Some of the POPs are PCBs, dioxins, DDT and flame retardants used in clothing and furniture. They disrupt endocrine pathways and are linked to cancer, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension and obesity. POPs enter our body largely from animal products that we eat. For example, levels of PCBs in animal fat found in meat is much higher than the levels found in vegetables, fruits and cereals. 6. Meat contains advanced glycation end products which are linked to a variety of diseases. Advanced glycation end products are naturally occurring compounds in food and can be increased by cooking on dry heat, such as on a grill. AGEs are associated with a variety of diseases including brain inflammation, diabetes, heart disease and cancer. Levels of AGEs found in meat are many multiples higher than in any fruit or vegetables. Increased levels of AGE can lead to premature aging. 7. Meat can cause a severe allergic reaction. New data exists that the bite of a lone star tick, quite common in certain areas like Virginia, USA, can cause an antibody to form that reacts to a carbohydrate in meat called alpha-gal. These antibodies can cause a severe allergic reaction the next time and every time red meat is eaten after the antibody forms. A newer study shows that over 25% of heart patients tested had the antibody for alpha-gal, a component of red meat, and those that had the meat and those that had the antibody had more advanced heart disease than those who did not have the antibody. Science says that all meat causes inflammation. A recent scientific review article stated that one of the most consistent epidemiological associations between diet and human disease risk is the impact of red meat consumption, beef, pork and lamb, particularly in processed forms. There is an increase in risk for all-cause mortality, colorectal and other carcinomas, atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes and possibly other inflammatory processes. Whether grain-fed or grass-fed, meats of all types favor inflammation, so fill your plates as much as possible with the most proven inflammation fighters and anti-aging foods, vegetables and fruits.
Friends, thank you for watching this video. Hope the information provided was useful to you.
Hope to meet you soon with a new video on health.